How's my boy? What a good boy. What a good boy. How's my boys? Good. Good. Guys. Good. 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 So today I've got Mon and I've got his nephew Bjorn. Pretty special day today, no doubt about it. These two males right here, I've hiked with a lot of dogs, and I've done a lot of hiking with little guys, and I raised some of the very best elkhounds in the world, and they're all extremely good to work with. But this little guy is quite phenomenal, really. And he's got an uncanny ability to stay in focus with me. And I took him through this heavy stuff. We were back in here to the water. And they got going on some scents there, so I let them go. And he's able to know where I am. At his age, he's just a little guy. Just did his 12-week booster. And incredible dog, just focused all the time. Don't have to call him, don't have to do nothing. He'll track me down out here, which is, at his age, boy, that's pretty profound. And he's getting led around by Mon, of course, but at the same time, Mon gets quite a ways ahead of him. And it doesn't bother him a bit. He's totally skilled. Now, lots of people don't understand this dog, don't know this dog that well, don't really have the background history on it. They find little tidbits of information because it's a very closed loop of guys that have the old lines, and they're not the information that's out there, how should I word it? Well, it's, they all say roughly the same thing. They might take a paragraph and they might change the wording in the paragraph, but that's about all they say. Now, what they talk about is that this is a Viking dog. That's one of the common things that people say. This is a dog of the Vikings, but people don't really understand what that means or what that involves or how it applies and what's the importance of that. Now, the Viking culture with dogs is the most profound culture in the world for the handler and the dog bonding. And the Vikings treasured their dog more than anything else. They liked their jewelry, they liked their axe, they liked their boat, but they really liked their dog. And it was fairly common that a lot of Vikings would be buried on their ship with their dog. And it was the bond was so profound with those with that culture and the dog. They're extremely it's one of the strongest cultures in the world for bonding with dogs. Now, I'll just keep the camera rolling on them because they want to run a little bit, and that's okay. But there's not a great deal written about why they're wanting to be buried with their dog and how that bond came to be and why it's across that culture. And I try and show it in my videos, the bond that you can build with these dogs but it speaks volumes when you think back that an entire culture cherished this dog. Now this dog, this particular pair, these two boys here, they are very little unchanged from many centuries ago. We have one of the last old ties to the old ancient working Viking dogs, and these two boys are a very close match to what was there. Now look at the behavior of that pup, would you? It's fascinating how this pup come, boy. Good. How you guys doing? I could hike the rest of my life. Now Eric and Helen are getting this boy. They were out here just recently to hike this whole region, and I had Bjorn and his sister. Now once this dog bonds with them, and he already has started, but he will when he gets home. Once he bonds, he never lets go. He's focused on that handler, and that's all he focuses on. It's an incredible dog for that aspect. And when you're an adventurer like the Vikings were, and you were traveling all the time to new places and lots of times, sure, they did settle and they did do all of their home life and all of that, but it was in a time where you had to have reliability in your dog. You had to have absolute faith in that dog. They settled in some of the roughest regions in the world, and so they had to rely on these guys. And it's an incredible breed from that aspect. These dogs, their whole focus, of course, was to watch the handler, watch the surroundings for the handler, help the handler survive, look after the handler, look after the yard, look after the family, and they're extremely gifted at that. The natural ability for them to do their job took thousands of years to really get that cemented in, and we still maintain that. We still keep that ability alive. Now, I do want to say that over the last 100 years or so, there has been an effort to make the dog nicer, friendlier, easier going, more social. Times are different, of course. However, we still run the lines like in the old days. We have that lineage. Mon is a very nice fella, there's no doubt about it. I have worked to get him a little nicer. Bjorn's very nice, of course. But put a threat in front of these boys, and I'll tell you what, all that instinct's there. So they're extremely gifted that way. They're able to socialize, be friends, be pals, and yet really turn on the tap if they need to. They're extremely good that way. Now that doesn't mean they're ever aggressive or anything like that. They're exceptional with families and stuff, but I'm talking about hiking in regions where there's threats that could come up. You boys just stay by me for a minute. Good. Just stay right by me. Good. Now on our Desna program, I allow the instincts to flourish on this dog and get cemented in. And by that, another way to phrase that is I wake them up. I wake up the instincts so they're right on the surface. For a lot of people, instincts are a bit of a mystery, and they want to control and train a behavior, and they want to create a certain behavior rather than just allow the instinctive behavior to flourish and guide that instinctive behavior. I never use a collar, a leash, or anything out here with these guys. He's never had one on. And I can do just about anything with him that you could possibly imagine. And it's because I work on the instinct side of his training. And so I wake all his instinctive behaviors up. And his skill is so profound. Lots of guys would train a dog for 2 years to get a dog as skilled as this little guy is in off-leash work, and never actually match him. And he's so profound already at 12 weeks, it's hard to believe. Now Mon is like a 1 in a million dog, and Bjorn is as good as Mon at that age. That's hard to believe. Now Luna is Mon's sister, and Luna's as good as Mon. And so no wonder Bjorn is, even though it's hard to believe. Just hang on, boys. You boys are good. I'm telling you, you boys are good. You boys are some rock stars. I've seen a lot of good dogs in my time, but boy, oh boy, hiking with a bear, you boys. Now we had a big fun day today because Mon's daughter, Sula went home today. So Clint and Amber drove up with Raya and picked her up today. And we had a visit. Oh, it was fun. We just enjoyed it. We were laughing. They had some fun stuff to tell me. It was hilarious, all the stuff. But Raya, no word of a lie, one of the best dogs ever. I'll just spin that. They want to circle again. I thought maybe they would come right back to me. If I move, they'll come back, but that's okay. Well, just so you know why I called this Big Rock Summit. Now, I made all these names for these places up. Of course, they're not named by anybody. But, yeah, what a beautiful dog that Raya is, and Clint and Amber have done such a wonderful job with her. She's a daughter of Tora and Bram. Bram is the grandfather to Mon. So the mother of Mon is Tekla, and therefore Sula and Freya have quite a few genetic connections. Because, of course, Tora was mated to Bram to produce Freya. Look at that boy. Can you believe it, hey? Comes out, checks where I am. Pretty cool. Now it's late in the day here, it's cool. The wind is starting to pick up. We might get a bit of rain. We were over at the springs over here. I hiked them by there. And then I needed to rest a little bit. But I wanted to show off this dog. He's so incredible. He's just absolutely unbelievable. Now that is a Pretty Boy Leaf's son. Pretty Boy Leaf was mated to Mon's sister. And it's quite fascinating how Leaf continues to work well with the females we put him with. Now we have the best females in the world, and he has stepped up. But that is one good fella. Now I could stand here for 4 hours and they would circle around me the entire time. Unless they came and slept. But they'd sleep with one ear up. But circle, 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 that's the nature. And check back in, check in, circle, check in. It's an awesome dog for camping. Oh my goodness. So I would like to go camping with these two boys, maybe this month yet. Maybe I get out. When I was a kid, I used to always try and go this time of year, and it would rain on me. I usually gotta wait till it dries. Well, boys, you better come here. Call her a video. Bjorn. Unbelievable. You're a good boy. Training to the instincts, you see, that's the key. And lots don't understand that concept. They want to use some way of controlling the body and the mind. Whereas all you want to do is wake the instinct up and let the instinct flourish. And the instinct will guide the dog. Now, training to the instinct has a huge, huge advantage in a time of crisis, because no amount of training will overrule instinct at crisis time. And so if you've trained using all kinds of different techniques to get a desired route, and you have not worked with instinctive behavior takes over every single time in dire straits. Every time. And so, for remote terrain, the old boys all knew at the end of the day, when the chips are all on the table and push comes to shove, you had better have brought the instincts right where you want them, so you know what that behavior is going to be, because that's the behavior that will happen. I always train to the instinctive behavior of the dog, always. And then, when you get in a bind, the behavior is exactly what I expect. It's exactly what I know. And they don't have to change or do anything different. They're not conflicted. It's kind of, I find it a little odd sometimes. I'll see pictures of 7 different breeds at a trainer's, and they're trying to train all 7 breeds. And not one of them has the same genetic instinct. And so you know, boom, just like that, they're not training to the instinctive behavior of the dog at all. So yeah, work with these dogs on instinctive behavior. Well, boys, what a great video. You better walk over here by Big Rock. Come here, boys. Come by me. What? Come by me, Mark. Bjorn, come by me, boy. What? What? Eric and Helen, they're just going to love this boy. Well, they already do love him, but they've only had a short window of time to get to know him, but he is phenomenal. And his sister, Aurora, is as good. All right, you boys, that's awesome.